world, for billions of years, it has been the stage for forces that both create and destroy life. And the most terrifying of these forces are the giant sleeping monsters hidden in the heart of the earth, volcanoes. They have awakened countless times throughout history. They shaped continents, changed climates, destroyed civilizations. A single explosion was enough to change the fate of a city forever. Vesuvius, which turned Pompeii to ash in less than 24 hours. Tambora, which plunged the world into darkness for years. Pele, which destroyed a city in seconds. And the Toba supervolcano, thought to have brought the global human population to the brink of extinction. In this documentary, we will examine history's deadliest volcanic eruptions and see the true power of Mother Nature in all its raw intensity. If you're ready, we're embarking on a journey into the darkest moments of Earth's history. Translated with DeepL.com, free version. It was an ordinary summer morning in the Roman city of Pompeii, on the Mediterranean coast, and people were going about their daily lives. No one knew that in a few hours one of the most devastating disasters in history would occur. Mount Vesuvius had been dormant for hundreds of years. The city's inhabitants didn't even know that this mountain was actually a volcano. On August 24th, a loud explosion was heard from the mountain. Following this loud noise, the sky was covered by a black cloud of smoke. When the eruption began, massive clouds of lava reached a height of 20 kilometers, and within minutes, the city was plunged into darkness. Unaware of the disaster, people rushed to their homes. Tiny particles of ash began to fall from the sky onto the city like rain. However, the real horrific destruction had not yet begun. Hours passed, and Mount Vesuvius erupted violently again, this time sending deadly flows toward Pompeii. A black cloud hung in the air, and this hellish wave turned everything in its path to ash. People who had taken refuge in their homes suffocated within seconds and lost their lives. In 1783, one of the most devastating disasters in human history occurred in the quiet and cold lands of Iceland. On June 8, 1783, the Laki volcanic eruption suddenly unleashed its inferno, setting the sky ablaze. Poisonous ash plunged the sky into darkness. This eruption lasted for a full 8 months. Global temperatures plummeted rapidly. This disaster froze rivers and destroyed agriculture. This catastrophe affected not only Iceland but all of Europe. While people struggled with a new famine, animals died, crops froze, and deadly diseases proliferated. This event left such a mark on disaster history. The year 536 was such a year that it went down in history as the worst year ever. Because that year the sun was dim and did not give its normal light for months. The world was plunged into darkness. It was an ordinary day for the people of that time. Everyone was going about their daily business until suddenly the sky was covered with dark clouds and the sun disappeared. Fear gripped the people. The air began to cool. No one understood what was happening. Modern science shows that this terrible darkness was the result of a volcanic eruption. The whole world was plunged into darkness, and it lasted for 18 months. People could no longer tell whether it was morning or evening. Agriculture was crippled. Crops froze. The sun could not provide light or heat for the entire year. Famine began and disease followed. People began to flee. Animals died. People died of starvation and disease and revolts. The situation became unmanageable. And this catastrophe went down in history as the worst, darkest year. May 8, 1902, witnessed one of the deadliest volcanic disasters in world history. Mount Pele had begun rumbling days earlier, sending warnings to the city. Some people who understood the impending disaster began to leave the city. The population was anxious and fearful. But it wasn't until one morning, when they were awakened by a tremendous noise, that a massive pyroclastic flow, reaching temperatures of 1,000 degrees Celsius. This flow advanced toward the city of Saint-Pierre at a speed of 600 kilometers per hour. This eruption killed 30,000 people in minutes. Houses evaporated, and it was enough to wipe out an entire city. The Tambora volcano eruption that occurred on April 10, 1815, is one of the greatest disasters in human history and caused the deaths of tens of thousands of people. The sound of some explosions was heard 2,000 kilometers away, and this volcanic eruption was so powerful that the energy released was equivalent to 33 billion tons of bombs. The eruption was so powerful that the ash and gases released from the volcano began to spread into the atmosphere and then around the world, poisoning people and destroying farmland. The ash lowered temperatures so much that it began snowing in England in June, the Thames River froze, and the cold weather and rainfall negatively impacted agriculture worldwide, leading to famine, disease, and uprisings. This catastrophe caused thousands of people to die from disease and starvation. A single eruption brought humanity to the brink of extinction. Approximately 74,000 years ago, one of the largest supervolcanoes in recorded history erupted at the site of Lake Toba, located on Sumatra Island in present-day Indonesia. This eruption marked a moment when human history was not yet written, but its destiny was forever altered. It spewed 2,800 cubic kilometers of lava, darkening the sky for months. The world entered a global winter. Temperatures dropped, sunlight was blocked for years, plants and animals disappeared, famine began, the human population began to decline rapidly, diseases emerged, and humanity was on the verge of extinction. After the eruption, a giant collapse crater formed in Sumatra. This area, now known as Lake Toba, is over 100 kilometers long and one of the world's largest volcanic calderas. The Toba supervolcano was not just an eruption. It was a major turning point that altered the world's ecosystem, climate, and human evolution. Yes, friends, volcanic eruptions are a worse disaster than you might imagine, and don't think it won't affect you. This situation impacts the entire world. Today, there are still active volcanoes that could erupt at any moment. One of these is Kilauea, Hawaii, USA, where gas buildup continues actively, and there is potential for an eruption at any time. Piton de la Fournaise, Reunion Island, Indian Ocean, last erupted at the end of December. Lava flows and gas emissions continue. Uluwun, Papua New Guinea, is an active volcano that last erupted in 2025 and is very close to a settlement.